Good afternoon. How are you guys doing today? I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. So today we're going over a book review. Today's book is Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. So this past Christmas, a friend of mine gave me this book to read. And both me and my friend happen to be introverted men. And oh wait, hold on. Before I start talking about introverts and extroverts. Maybe some of you are watching don't even know what it is. So, the common misconception of introverts and extroverts is that, extroverted people are just people that talk a lot, and introverted people are just people who just, don't like talking to people. Absolutely false. Absolutely not true. It has nothing to do with it. Extroverts and introverts is all about how we process stimuli, how we process the world, how do we process things. Extroverts are people that respond well to high stimulus situations, such as bars, such as clubs, and they get energized by socializing, by talking. That's how they gain their energy. It's all based on stimuli and energy. Introverts are the exact opposite. They get their energy by being alone, being solitary, being to themselves. That for introverts, going out and socializing for long periods of time is draining to them. Not that they can't be social people, they can be very social people, but it's draining to them. It's tiring. Where if they've had a long day of work and on a Friday and they can kind of finally come home and relax and read a book, enjoy a movie and spend a weekend by themselves, they got no problem with that. It energizes them for the rest of the week. It's that lack of socialization that gives them their energy where they can withdraw into themselves. Where extroverts are the opposite. When extroverts get too much alone time, it stresses them out. It bores them. They need to go out and need to socialize and need to talk to people, need to be out there. And now we live in a very extroverted culture, and that's exactly what the book goes into, is that extroverts are patted on the back for being extroverted, for being talkative, to be animated, to be, out there socializing all the time. Introverts aren't valued as much because of that lack of socializing quality. But doesn't mean introverts can't be social beings. They can be very social beings. They just need to have the proper balance to it. And another part that the book goes into is that extroverts have a tendency to be more risk takers. That introverts will take more calculated risks. They'll be more cautious into certain situations. Like, for example, getting into a marriage or getting into a relationship. Extroverts will have more of a tendency to be impulsive based on the emotions, based on the dopamine and chemical feelings you feel in your brain when you first start dating someone, you're first in the honeymoon phase. Extroverts are more likely to make impulsive decisions based on that, chemical feeling. Introverts will be a little more cautious. They'll be a little more calculating in the risks that they take. Also talks about being high reactive people and low reactive people, that in times of high stress, introverts will have a tendency to be a little more low reactive. Doesn't mean they don't feel stress, they just internalize the stress and respond to it differently, as opposed to extroverts who will their stress and their state of mind in a high pressure situation will be more transparent. You'll be able to see that more. It'll be less internalized. You'll be able to see it through their face and nonverbal communication. It's going to be there in front of you a lot more. And I would say for me, I'm an introvert. And I don't know if you're a fellow introvert like me watching this, but one of the biggest, insecurities I had growing up as a kid was the introverted nature. So this is the comment that I heard all the time growing up, which as a kid drove me nuts. So I don't know if you're someone that can relate to this, but I heard it all the time was, "Hey Lauren, why are you so quiet? Why don't you talk more? Stop being so introverted." And you can see how being a young kid, how that can affect you. That's not helpful in developing, confidence and developing your self-esteem as a person. It's devaluating the introverted nature. So how did I deal with that? It's like all through growing up, I just thought there was something wrong with my introverted nature, something wrong with being quiet, until I realized being quiet and being introverted were two separate things. Very different. I just happened to be a quiet person that was introverted. You can be a social person but still be introverted. So after a while, you go through life, you grow up, and you start to find the value in being introverted, and you start to take more ownership of that nature, and you start to realize the strengths of being introverted, that I can be a little more cautious when it comes to taking risks. I find more pleasure and more peace in being on my own and being quiet and being calm and going for a jog up the mountain in my cottage, or going fishing and going camping and being out in the woods by myself. That doesn't bother me. I enjoy it. It's relaxing. Sitting at the dock of my cottage and reading a book is very relaxing, where you don't feel the need to be socializing all the time. And another part this book goes into is the style of leadership that introverts and extroverts have. Where an introverted leader will tell his crew, tell his community, and tell his tribe, the people that he's leading, what needs to be done, but he or she will be able to get more ideas out of them and leave them to come up with their own ideas of how to accomplish the task and the goal they need to accomplish, as opposed to extroverted leaders that will just get really excited, being the center of attention and being in that leadership position, where they won't give any room for other people to talk and to give ideas, where they'll just be kind of taking up the whole room. Or introverts will just get straight to the point, tell your team what you need to do, and then just, all right, the rest is up to you guys. Have fun. Where introverted leaders will know when an appropriate time to take a step back, and when to come forward. Where extroverted leaders will kind of just be there in your face all the time and have trouble with taking a step back and letting your team do what they need to do, and letting their creative juices and their imagination help them accomplish the task they need to do. I look at it the same way as work with kids. I work with kids. And I've noticed highly extroverted people that that I work with are kind of always there in the kids' faces, always not letting the kids give themselves like the time to breathe and to relax and be able to solve problems on their own instead of always interfering and solving the problems for them. Or like introverted like me, I'll help the kids when I need to, but I'll judge a situation. I see a situation's happening. I know if I need to step in or knowing when to step back and allowing the kids to solve the problem on their own, and they'll help and they'll learn and they'll grow from that. It's the same thing as working in a classroom. You got your extroverted kids and you got your introverted kids, right? And it's all, if you step in the classroom, if you've worked in one, or you've been in one since you're a kid, I'm sure you have, that it is always the extroverted kids that take up the energy in the room. They're always the ones you notice. The introverted kids, the little boys and little girls kind of sitting at the corner by themselves, drawing, reading on their own, not interacting. Those are the kids that go under the radar. But those are the kids that actually need the attention. So I'll give you another example. So I worked in a classroom about 2 years ago. It was the beginning of the school year. We're all getting to know the kids. And there was this one girl who was clearly introverted, shy. And she was sitting there quietly drawing and reading to herself. It's about a week or two in to when school started. It's about the second week of September. And the teacher was worried and asked me, like, oh, this little girl, like, you know, she hasn't opened up or talked to anybody yet. What are we going to do? You know? And me being a introverted person myself, I'm like, all right, don't worry. I'm going to go talk to her, see if I can get something out of her. So I go over to her with a few goals in mind. I'm going to go up and ask her questions to get her to open up. A second, I'm not going to stay in her bubble for too long. I'm going to give myself 2 minutes to talk to her. Only 2 minutes. Because knowing that she's an introvert, if I'm in her bubble for too long and she doesn't know me, not comfortable with me yet, she's going to get uneasy and she's going to shut down. 2 minutes. And the third thing, during that 2-minute conversation of asking her questions, at least once during that conversation, you gotta make her smile. You gotta make her laugh. Why? So she gonna start associating me with positive emotions. So if I do that every day, I go up every day, make an effort for 2 minutes every day, go talk to her, ask questions, get her to talk about herself. Make her smile and laugh once during that 2 minutes and only keep it 2 minutes. Don't go more than that. She's going to associate me with positive emotions, and exactly what happened. Day in, day out for about 2-3 weeks, she slowly started to open up. And open up with the other kids and get comfortable with the other kids. And at that point, when she started to socialize with the other kids and she was comfortable doing that, what did I do? I backed off. I didn't have to do anything anymore. Why? Because what I set out to do, my goal was accomplished. Get her to open up and get her to make friends and be comfortable in the classroom and socialize. Not because I forced her to do it, because I gradually made her comfortable to do it. I worked around and navigated myself around her introverted nature to get her comfortable, where she was able to do it on her own. I didn't force her to get mad at her, like, hey, you should be less introverted. You should go out and talk to the other kids. Everybody else is talking, go. Like, That's not going to work with these kind of kids. You've got to let them do it on their own and let them move at their own pace. And it's the same thing with adults. Introverts have different strengths. Extroverts have different strengths. Not doesn't mean one is better than the other. They're just different. Like men and women. We have different strengths, different weaknesses, but we're different. That's exactly what this book goes into. It's not devaluing introverted nature, it's finding the strength in it and finding strengths in it that maybe extroverts don't have. Because like I said in the beginning of this video, we live in a very extroverted culture. That extroverts are praised for being extroverts because that's just the society and world that we live in now. That being an introvert is not as of value, but there are specific qualities that introverts have that can be of value to people. And it's just a matter of just understanding introverted nature and extroverted nature and understanding the pros and cons to both and how we can both work together. And that's it. And I would highly recommend Quiet. The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. On that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, you can subscribe and smash the like button. And I have another book review that you can watch as well, and other past videos on my Storytime show that you can watch. I have videos coming out twice a week, Mondays and Fridays. So the next one will be on Friday. And I will see you all in another life. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves.